Wesleyan College was founded in 1836, the first college in the world chartered to grant degrees to women.
I chose Wesleyan because of its beauty. I love the campus and I love that it's very diverse. And being an international student in America was very hard for me, but finding Wesleyan is a delight.
I just knew that this was the school I wanted to go to. They just made me feel so welcome and felt like they really listened to what I wanted to do with my life, and they just made me feel like I belonged here.
Well, since the early 1900s, we have welcomed students from all around the world. But in the last 10 years, our international student population has grown considerably to now about 20% of our undergraduate population. And so we welcome students from more than 20 countries from around the world.
There's a good baseline of knowledge and experience here. This is not our first rodeo in terms of sending students abroad. We've done it, we've been successful at it.
In our direct exchange programs, the tuition is charged at the college and not at the host school. So the student is able to use her scholarship just as though she were enrolled in classes and sitting in a seat here with us.
For me, study abroad is about learning independence, self-reliance, and a lot of life skills and trials that you won't get if you stay in your safe niche. You can stay and work your whole life and never go out of your comfort zone, but you're not going to know what you can really do until you show up in Paris on a weekend that is a holiday weekend when everything is closed and your bag doesn't arrive and you don't have any money. And then you find out what you can do.
Oh, part of it is we're just so used to having immediate access. One place that we had went to in Romania, no medical team had been there in 5 years. So of course they were all very rushed to try to come into a clinic.
Study abroad to me is wonderful. I think I can better understand the Korean history after this experience. I did have a very great time in Korea.
I learned that really we're pretty much the same. We might have different cultures and carry ourselves differently, but down deep, even without language, even if we can't speak the same language, we can still identify with each other. So that was really great because I met a lot of Japanese people, you know, on the street or as part of the program, but they didn't speak English. And we could pantomime to each other and still have a great time, and that was just wonderful.
I grew up studying abroad. I became just a better Shakara, I would say. A little bit more outgoing, a little bit more engaged with students on campus after I come back. I kind of feel like I understand like an international student's perspective of like what does it mean to be away from home and studying something that you don't know.
That's the great part. You're on your own doing what you can do, and after you come back and you said, I went there, I'm not dead and I'm alive and I'm back.
Just today, you know, the world is more global. Art is more global. In my opinion, you can't really understand art, why people create art, or the beauty of it, unless you're there in person and you have that one-on-one experience with the art.
You know, you can't really appreciate the Tower of Pisa until you climb the Tower of Pisa. You can't appreciate kind of the glory and the vastness of the Roman Empire until you see just how much stuff is still even around 2,000 years later.
I always tell students that I would have never gotten my job if I hadn't studied abroad. And we tell our students that, you know, you're going for the sake of learning, and that's the most important part, but we can't deny that our students have to get jobs in 1, 2, 3 years. And so employers are also really impressed when students have guts and they take risks and they become adaptable to their situations.
I can say I've been to Shanghai and I was able to figure out how to do things, so I would definitely kind of put it as I can go to different countries and if you send me there and still be able to operate and do my job. I'm also better at talking with people, so there's that too.
And being a music major, I've been able to say, hey, I have performed in a foreign country and I've performed these pieces and I worked with these faculty. And another place that I performed was the Mozarteum, which Mozart's a really big deal in Salzburg, Austria, because that's where he's from. And so you're literally standing like right next to where he used to play, and then you can see, yeah, that was just really cool.
The trip to Rome is an extremely walking trip. So we do one day where we go out and we walk the Appian Way. you know, the major road that went into Rome during the empire. And it still exists, and the road is still in very good shape. Along the road are all of these things, like there's old catacombs outside of the city.
Or I remember at one point, me, Dr. Rowan, and the other students were leaning against this railing and we're looking at these ruins, thinking, okay, this is cool. And then Rowan goes, oh, these are the steps where Caesar was assassinated. By the way. And we were just mind blown.
Dr. Rowan told us, well, it's about 5 more miles to a ruin, and he hoped that we would say, oh, let's just turn around and leave. But we were Wesleyan, so we were like, let's go. So we kept walking. We ended up walking like 12 miles that day.
Well, I'm going to study in Northern Ireland at Ulster University because they have a really good program. And at the same time, like the scenery of this country is just so beautiful, so enthralling, and that's why I decided to do that.
My favorite part was St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican. Now I'm an art major, so to see the Sistine Chapel and the Pieta, it was beautiful. It was just so vast, and there's really just no words for it.
Belize is very pretty but very small. There was a lot of adventurous stuff to do, like hiking, and we went on this island and snorkeled a lot.
And we were told that there was a crocodile that was tucked back into the mangroves, and so that made the students a little nervous. And then as we were swimming along toward the mangroves, there are these upside down jellyfish that live in the bottoms of these shallow coves, and they were somehow startled by our swimming, and so they all started moving upwards, and again that made the students a little nervous. But I think that, I don't know, that excitement, the little hint of danger actually made it even more exciting and more fun.
It was pretty cool. We got to touch sharks and these big stingrays, and it was exciting.
We, especially in Japan, people were so willing to help us. We were lost and standing just looking like, where's the hotel? Because everything's in Japanese in Japan. Everything we saw anyway. And we didn't even know where our hotel was. But you ask someone, they'll take the time
out to take you where you need to go.
We're so fast-paced here in America, we don't sometimes slow down. Where it's always, I have a meeting at 1, I have to go here, I have to go here. We don't take time to just enjoy.
Barcelona was beautiful. The food, everything was just, I mean, we could just eat for days. The food was so natural and so fresh. I mean, everything, of course, is social. Spain is very social.
We took 9 students down there, and they were so happy that we did a little evaluation of them when they got back, and it was, oh, please do this for every student. This is a life-changing experience for me. I mean, the 9 ladies that went said, you know, they will never forget that. Matter of fact, they've offered to go back as chaperones next year.
I would recommend it to anybody. I think it's worth it, even if it's just for a week like I did. I think it will change your life.
If you can do it, then you should already be filling out the paperwork. And if you think you can't, then I say challenge yourself and do whatever you have to do, because it's worth it.
Study abroad is life-changing.
Wonderful.
It's fun and exciting.
Tasty, definitely tasty.
Breathtaking.
Magical.
Mind-blowing.
Essential.
Addicting.
Fun and possible.